All right, it looks like everything is set up for today's video. So hey everyone, welcome to the channel, and as always, thanks for stopping by and hanging out for a few. My name is Rich and I'm moving my microphone around, and I'm the channel host here. We do a lot of drone talk lately, and today you're looking at the screen background and you're saying to yourself, oh, Rich is going to talk about another 3D modeling thing. Nope, I'm not going to. But what you're seeing in the background right now is a 3D model of a property that I just went out to this past weekend for a new client because I wanted to gather some information for myself. So this isn't a model that's actually going to be used by the client. This was just an extra flight that I performed for myself to get a look at some of the areas that we're going to be working around. So 3D modeling is one of the many things we can do for our drone flight. And what I wanted to talk to you today about, since a lot of you are coming here learning how to build your own drone businesses, I wanted to have a conversation with you about building the drone business and slowing it down just a bit. So I've been getting a lot of questions and comments lately. And as a matter of fact, I've been trying to do this video for a while. I just deleted 40 minutes of separate video files from last week that I wasn't happy with. So just trying to produce today's video. So today's video is on building your drone business and slowing things down a bit. I get a lot of questions on the YouTube channel. We just crossed 2,600 people. I know that's not a huge channel, but we've got a lot of engaged people here, whether they're commenting on the YouTube channel or they're directly contacting me, which is what a lot of you guys are doing. I don't mind that at all. It would be great if you could leave some of those comments and questions on the YouTube channel as well to help fill in other people, because you're not the only person with those questions. There are other people who have those questions. So yeah, I don't mind people getting directly in touch, and that's perfectly fine. But once again, if you leave questions and comments on the YouTube channel, other people get to see it. So I've been seeing a theme developing with a lot of folks. Everyone's getting very gear-centric and all the things you need to buy, and I want you to slow it down just a bit. What we're doing here when we're building our drone businesses, there are a lot of facets to the business. Drones are flying cameras. They're flying video cameras and flying still cameras. So the number one thing we do with drones is we collect images and data from those images, like GPS locations, elevation, all of that gets wrapped in there. And a lot of our regular cameras today do that too. So a lot of my cameras that I utilize have GPS information, so you can get exact location off of the images, which is really neat. So bottom line, you've got a flying camera. What are you going to do with it? Well, I've got all these people asking about deliverables for construction jobs and deliverables for modeling jobs. And, once again, all of this stuff comes back to still photos and video. So it stands to reason that you're going to need to know a little bit about photography and a little bit about videography. Most likely, you're going to need to know about editing your photos. You're going to need to know about editing your video. And then you can start worrying about some of these really niche applications like, doing 3D modeling, doing 2D modeling. But first, I think you need to think about the basics. I say that because I've gotten several folks who've called me, directly to talk through their business ideas. And number one, they don't understand all of the software applications that are available. For instance, what you're looking at in the background here, so I'm just taking a look at the background. This is a 3D model. I'm looking at Metashape Pro created by Agisoft. This program takes a bunch of images and combines them together. Well, where did I get those images? I got the images from my drone, and I was using an application called DJI Ground Station Pro. That program is very helpful for collecting images for creating 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional models. You can set up a flight path. The drone follows that flight path and shoots photos every so many seconds. After I get back to the office from doing a model, I offload usually hundreds and hundreds of images, and then I combine those images in Metashape. And I've had people who've been very confused about what a capture application is versus what a processing application is. So the capture applications are used in flight. So Ground Station Pro, Map Pilot, DJI Go 4, Litchi, these are all capture applications. I'm running these applications in conjunction with my drone to fly my drone and to capture images with the drone for a purpose that I'm going to have later on. So we've got this group of capture applications. We set them over here. And then the next part is processing applications. So when we get back to the office, it depends on what we were doing. We're going to need a photo editing program or a video editing program or maybe a 3D modeling program. The applications that we use to fly our drones mostly don't put all of your images together to make a model for you. That's when you have desktop and laptop software. There are some new ones out there that will do something like Ground Station Pro will do a 2D model for me on my iPad, but that's extra money to purchase that, and I'm not buying it. And I don't want to get too confusing here. I'm trying to be as simple as possible in this one because I know it's not just affecting those folks who've gotten directly in touch with me. There's a lot going on. So we have capture applications, we have processing applications, we have editing applications, and we also have things to help us manage the entire process. Back to the beginning, these are flying cameras. So before you start worrying about doing models for people, how accurate the models are, before you start talking about doing progression reports for people, you're going to need to know what applications will help you with that and what editing programs will help you with that. The most recent project that I've been working on with a apartment complex that's being built in the Prescott area, I'm using the Litchi application and Map Pilot for when I'm flying those locations. When I get back to the office, Map Pilot I use to gather things to create 2D and 3D models. So all of those still images from Map Pilot will eventually end up in Metashape Pro or Pix 4D or Drone Deploy's cloud-based solution or Maps Made Easy's cloud-based solution. So that those images off of Map Pilot are specifically, I'm taking those to combine into a 2 and 3D model. The Litchi part, where I'm flying and collecting video and still photography to show off the location, when I get back to the office, I offload those images and videos, and I will be using editing programs like Adobe's Lightroom and Adobe Photoshop. And then for the videos, I'm going to be using Final Cut Pro X because I'm a Mac guy and I don't have Adobe Premiere, but I could get it for my computer. So we have capturing the images. So that's where the drone's involved and capture applications are involved. We then have what we want to provide to our clients. If we told them we're going to provide them with video, most likely you're going to need Adobe's Premiere Pro or Final Cut Pro to do your video editing. There are other video editors out there, but those two are very powerful. And then for your still photography that you want to display, maybe time-lapse photography over the course of weeks, months, or years, you're probably going to be doing some retouching of those images in Photoshop or Lightroom or another editing package. So we've got some pretty big blocks of things. That's a lot of learning time up front, let me tell you. I've been a Photoshop user since, well, somewhere in the 2000s before they had the Creative Cloud. I got very serious about my photography starting in 2006, and I spent thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of dollars on photography training, both in-person classes with photographers that I followed and online classes through Kelby's training. Scott Kelby's great for still photography and for instruction. I've then spent in the past couple of years, I can't even tell you how many hours learning Final Cut Pro, learning video editing. And by all means, I am no expert on video editing, but I can cobble together some nice videos. but I'm not cinematic and, I'm not a director and producer of something super high end. You know that just from this channel. So what I'm saying is there's a lot to learn here. If you're just starting your drone business, you need to think about who it is you're marketing to, and then what tools you're going to need for them. One of the easiest ones, if you're flying local real estate and you're doing images for realtors, you're going to need the drone. You're going to need some kind of flight application. The DJI Go 4 app's perfectly fine. That's the first one that you get when you get your DJI drone. Well, now with the newest drone, it's a totally different one again. But that application can do video for you. It can do still photos for you, and it can do a couple of neat little trick shots as well. So doing real estate, all I need is my smartphone with the apps on it, my controller for my Mavic 2 Pro, and then I might need some photo editing software after I'm done for the realtors. Stepping it up a notch, some realtors are looking for video now and still photography. So now you're going to need to know about those still photo editing programs like Photoshop and Lightroom, and you're going to need to know about video editing software like Final Cut Pro and Adobe's Premiere. And like I said, there are other ones out there. So with each step in the complexity that you're going to start offering to clients, there's going to be a learning curve. You're not going to know this all at once. And I would suggest not rushing it. Start becoming proficient with those photo editing programs. Start becoming proficient with those video editing programs out there. Start becoming proficient with how you organize your photos and your video. And then finally, you can start worrying about these crazy programs like Metashape Pro here that allows me to create 2D and 3D models out of a series of photographs. That's really cool. It's really amazing, but don't overwhelm yourself. Number 1, camera basics. Number 2, editing basics. Number 3, organizing all of the materials that you're gathering. And you need to start feeling comfortable with each of those steps and not rushing ahead. I literally had one person get in touch the other week, which is why I tried putting this video together before, who had just bought their license for Final Cut Pro and didn't understand why they couldn't edit still photography on it. And so I had to explain to them, Final Cut is specifically for video. We're not doing photo editing here. Photoshop, Lightroom, Luminar, all of those things, those are for photo editing. So I understand it can be very overwhelming, and there are a lot of objects in motion in this kind of business. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, it's totally reasonable. Take a step back, slow it down, think about who your target audience is and what you would like to give them, and that's going to give you an idea of what applications and software packages you're going to need. And if you're still feeling overwhelmed by it, leave a comment here, leave a question here. We'll try to address it, and the rest of the community might be able to help out as well. All right, everyone. I don't think I'm going to delete this one. I think this is a keeper. And later in the week, we'll be talking about some of that more complex stuff because I do want to tell you all about this flight over the weekend and what went on with that. So for my capture applications, when we talk about this one next time, we're using Litchi here, and we are using Ground Station Pro for the newest project that we've got going on. For our other project, it's Litchi and Map Pilot, and you can look back at some of the videos about that, or you can check out the Litchi class that I have at Udemy, and that covers a lot of that particular location and what we're doing there. All right, everyone, have a great start to the week, and as always, fly safe and have fun, and don't let this overwhelm you. Slow it down. No one's pushing you to go super fast except for yourself. All right, we'll see you again in the very near future, and have an awesome week.